Nah, seorang pun masuk ni, Darushan masuk. Okay, there are lots of theories in the topic of motivation that you have to know, that you have to understand, that you have to, if there are questions in the MCQ, so you'll be able to answer the question, MCQ and also short answers, okay? Okay, so we go to the next topic. Okay, under topic 7, motivation and communication. So the next topic is communication. Yeah. So I believe this one I can go very fast because first you have learned this in your principles of management class. Betul tak? If it is yes, so you write yes on the chat. If it is no, that you have not learned yet in principles of management class, so you write no on the chat. So it's either yes or no. Okay, thank you, Aisha. All right, okay. And we are dealing with communications all of the time. For example, at the moment I am communicating with you. Okay, so for communication to be able to be effective or to be successful means that when I talk to you, I deliver my message. Okay, I'm the sender. I deliver my message through communication channel that we are using now, which is an online class through Gmeet. So you receive the information when I ask you, for example, have you learned the topic of communication in the course of principles of management? So you as the receiver, you get the message, you will encode, you will decode. Tadi saya encode message, you will decode the message. Then you send me a reply and then you wrote down just now on the chat. So your answer is yes. Okay, when you answer yes, it means that you are giving the feedback. So it means that the communication is a success. Okay, it's successful. If you do, when I ask a question, okay, you get the questions but you do not reply, it means you do not decode the message, then the communication is not successful. Okay, and I ask you questions at the beginning of the class, for example, when you reply, when you respond, it means that our communication is successful. If not, then the communication is considered not successful, okay, or not effective. Okay, so we go to the definition of communication. Okay, communication can be defined by transfer. So just now I transfer the message through a channel, which is our medium, the Gmeet here. Okay, and understanding. So you understand you get the message, you understand the meaning by decoding the meaning. Okay, and then you transfer back the or you respond or you reply. Okay, so it's that is a communication. Okay, so it's not only transfer satu pihak but transferring and understanding of meaning by both of the parties. Okay, so that's the basic definitions of communication: transference and understanding of meaning. All right, so why do people communicate? Okay, why do people communicate, especially in organization? Okay, especially in the working place, in organization, we communicate because there are certain functions that you want to achieve. Okay, the first one is like a control mechanism. Okay, a control mechanism. Okay, what happened here? Communication plays a role of controlling mechanism, where what happened? Organization members are required to follow certain formal guidelines. So in organization, for example, in MARA as the government agencies, there are a lot of perkeliling or circulars from bahagian sumber manusia, from bahagian pendidikan tinggi, okay, from other divisions of MARA, for example, especially bahagian sumber manusia or called bahagian sumber manusia, human resource department, and there are lots of rules and procedures that we have to follow. Okay, so they will write down the policies or the whatever the what we call the regulations, okay, in the circular, then they will be sent in MARAnet. Okay, so for the for the employees of Mara, for example, just an example. Okay, I'm talking because I'm working with Mara, so it's easier. I get the example from Mara. So for the staff to read the what we call circular. So not only that, okay, when we have, for example, mesyuarat pengurusan or management meeting, the director will just list down the new circulars that is available in the Maranet for the staff to know. So later on, the head of department will inform the rest of the employees. They might have read also from the Maranet, but we just inform it again, and so for us to kind of to make sure that whatever the information will reach the employees. Yes, the circular is more like a formal guidelines, okay, or telling about the policies of the organization for the employees to know. So that's the first functions of communication as a control mechanism. Okay, recently, for example, the recent circular that we got, okay, is we have more regarding, for example, SOP for COVID. Okay, the bantuan for staff who encounter COVID, a positive COVID, for example. Okay, the bantuan for raya. Okay, so everything is there. Okay, in the what we call circular provided by Bahagian Sumber Manusia or the Human Resource Department. So this is the things, the do and don'ts. And the the formal guidelines or the circular is like the do and don'ts, the things that the employees can do or cannot do. Okay, for example, in organization. Okay, so it's a control mechanism. That's the first one. All right, the second one, for motivational purpose. Okay, communication can motivate employees. So the people at the top, when they communicate with the, for example, talking about employees and the top management. So there are things that can be, there are statements or speeches that can be done by the top management to do what? To motivate the employees. Okay, can motivate employees. For example, when we have perkeliling on kenaikan pangkat, for example. So it is advisable for the top management to advise, to motivate the employees to go and apply for the kenaikan pangkat. Okay, the promotional opportunity, for example. Okay, so is something that can motivate the employees. Communication can motivate employees by clarifying to employees what is to be done, how well is their performance, and what need to be done. Okay. Now, for example, like head of department, so after we evaluate the class of the lecturers, we can call them, we can like communicate. Sometimes the observer can also learn. Yeah, during sometimes if you can see some lecturers in some of your lectures class where head of departments or HCA observing. Okay, sometimes even the observer can learn. Yeah, and things that can be learned from the lecturers in the class. Bukannya kita nak tengok dia buat betul ke, student punya komunikasi dengan pensyarah macam mana, pensyarah tak berkomunikasi dengan pelajar ke, pelajar tak berkomunikasi dengan pensyarah ke. But there are things that we can also learn from the lecturers during the class interaction. That's the second one, to motivate. Yeah. The third one, of course, when we communicate, emotion play important role. Okay, this one we have learned in topic 3, emotional. When we are working in the organization, we have to show the right emotion, that we have to keep the felt emotion. We have to show the one or displayed emotion, the one that is required by the organization. Okay, so communication is the tinggal I tu, is a way to release also emotional expression and fulfillment of social needs. Yeah, we have to communicate, we have to express also the required emotion when we are working in organization. Then, of course, to inform, okay, information, to transfer message, to transmit message. Okay, as a spokesperson, the top management have to transmit messages to the employees. Yeah, communication provides information that individuals or group needs to make decisions. Maybe information also, for example, during meetings. Okay, we share opinions so that we can come up with the decision making. Okay, so these are the 4 functions of communication that you have to know or you have to be able to explain. Okay, number 1 is control, is a control mechanism through what? Through formal guidelines such as circular, such as a memo from top people, top management. Motivation, communication can motivate employees, okay, to clarify to employees what can be done, okay, or how well is their performance. And then of course to express emotion, okay, to express emotion and to inform, okay, when we transmit messages, for example, or during a meeting, okay, so provides the information that individuals and group needs to make decision. All right. So if it is okay with functions of communication, you are clear with functions of communication, you can write 111 on the chat. If it is not clear, then you can ask question. Okay, thank you Faiz and Shah. Yeah, I think this is very, very straightforward. Yeah. Uzma, Hawanis, Maisara, Batrisha. All right. Okay, so I hope that everybody is okay lah with these functions of communication. Then we'll move to the communication process. Okay, the communication process. So what happened here, sender macam saya, kalau saya jadi sender, saya as the sender, I'll send message. So sender initiate a message by encoding a thought. Okay, so the encoded message yang saya hantar tu goes through a channel or medium. So in our case, it's through this medium. Okay, it's either for example through your WhatsApp. Kalau saya komunikasi dengan pelajar, it's through WhatsApp, through the Gmeet meeting. It's a meeting, it should be a discussion actually. Okay, or in your Google Classroom. There are certain information in the Google Classroom. For example, when I have schedule the due date for you to hand in your project tu, okay, from the 10th to the 13th, so I reschedule, I put in the classroom. Okay, I reschedule in the classroom. So what you call the message or the channel of our communication can be through the WhatsApp, can be in the Gmeet meeting, can be in the Google Classroom. Okay, so that is the channel or the medium. So sender saya, contohnya saya lah. Okay, I'm sending you the message. So I send message. Okay, so then the process is known as encoding message through a channel. A channel, the example given already, I informed you already. Okay, and then receiver. So who are the receiver in our situation or in our scenario? In my scenario just now, who are the receivers?
Us, madam. Student.
Students. Tak apa jelas Muaz. Okay, tapi saya dengarlah sikit. Students, okay. So you are the receiver. Students are the receiver. So you receive the message. When you receive the message, okay, you will encode. You nak fahamkan message tu, you kena proses dia, namanya decoding. Saya tadi encode message. Okay, proses awak nak memahamkan message tu nama dia decoding. Okay, decoding message. Okay, so in our process of sending message, sometimes it will be influenced by noise. Noise ni boleh jadi memang noise from, kalau kat sini sometimes that cleaner tu, pakcik tu dia suka guna blower tu. Okay, so when we got class dia pun guna blower tu. So that is the noise lah. Noise can also be, for example, you have line connection problem. Noise can be a distraction. Okay, the time when you have class, at the same time your brother or sister come back from school and you have to fetch your brother or sister, so you have to drive. You can use, of course, no problem, you can use your phone, but you are driving, so you might not get the total or the full information. Okay, itu masalah dengan noise tu. Okay, then but for me, to ensure that you understand my message tadi, okay, it is good when you give me the feedback. Okay, you give me the feedback, so I know that you have understand the message. Okay, for example, at the beginning of the class, I ask you, Have you learned this topic in principles of management? So some of you give feedback by stating yes. So we have Aisyah, Nelly, Asratun Nazira. Okay, Aisyah berkali ni, Aisyah ni. Okay. Kan soalan lain. Yes. Alright, so I know that the message has been sent. You receive the message and you can reply. You can give the feedback. Okay. So receivers give feedback to sender to show understanding has been achieved. So the communication process is successful. Okay, a cycle of communication process has been done. Okay. When I ask another question, okay, when I finish this subtopic of, for example, just now, the functions of communication. So I ask question, is it clear? Yes, or do you need further clarification? So when you put 111, I will assume that, okay, that is the feedback. So I assume that, okay, you don't have any problem with the subtopic of functions of communication just now. Okay, so we got many of you responding. Okay, Faiz, Aisyah, Shratul, Uzma, and so on. Okay, so to show that you receive the message, you understand it, and you give it back. So yang tak jawab tu, what happened for those who are not answering or not giving feedback? So jawab ni ramai kan, yang tak jawab pun ramai. So what happened to the rest of those who are not giving feedback? So we don't know whether the communication is successful or not. Alright? Kan? Because it does not meet, or this does not go through one cycle of a communication process. Faham tak?
Yes, madam.
Dia cakap yes. Yang tak cakap yes, saya pun tak tahu nak buat macam mana. Okay? So maknanya the cycle tu tak sampai. Dia sampai kat mana? Sender, send message, encode message through channel. You receive the message. Lepas tu whatever it is, noise ke, or you are so, maaf nak cakap, you are so lazy ke, yang nak type satu pun you tak nak. Saya tak tahu, ataupun you are too sleepy ke, or you sleep while I'm talking ke, kita tak tahu. Tak tahu sama ada you are minta maaf cakap lah, you so don't know how to say. So the cycle is not finished tau sebenarnya. When I ask, you of course, and also I don't know whether you receive the message or not. It's another issue. Saya tanya, saya dah encode message pergi kat channel kita sekarang ni. I don't know. I even don't know whether you receive or you don't receive. So ada dua kemungkinan, two probabilities. One you receive and then you just keep quiet. Or you receive ke malas lah nak tekan, ataupun I don't know. I don't know, because we are not in the classroom where I can see your facial expression. If in the classroom we can see your facial expression. Okay, so that's communication process. So it's success or not success is depending on whether the cycle is fulfilled or not. Is finished or not. The cycle is finished or not. Alright. Okay. So direction of communication. One is downward, one is upward. Communication that flows from one level of a group or organization to a lower level. For example, employee communicating to employees. The top manager, kan you belajar the hierarchy of management hierarchy. Top manager, middle manager, and then first line manager. So the top, for example, to the middle, that is downward communication. Flows from one level of a group. Could be first line managers to the operative. That is also a downward communication. Flows from one level of a group of a group or organization to a lower level. Yang satu lagi, when the subordinates now asking question to the top, dia jadi upward. Yang tadi for example downward, the boss give direction, communicating by giving direction, or by informing. This is the new circular from the top management. So that is downward. Kalau the subordinates asking question to the top management, so that is becoming upward communication. Communication that communication that flows. Ingat as flows to a higher level in the organization, in the group or organizations. So example, feedback from an employee towards the instructions of his boss, ataupun could be the employee asking questions to the boss. Boss, bila nak dapat ni increment salary ni? Boss, bila nak dapat bonus nak raya ni? Alright, so there is upward communication. Alright, so modes or methods of communication. So we have oral communication, like what you are doing now, communicating, oral communication. So speed and immediate, sepatutnya speed and immediate, but because you are not giving, kalau you giving the response immediately, jadi speed and immediate feedback. So I ask you question, then you answer me, so that is immediate. Tapi kalau I ask question and I do not get the feedback, dia tak jadi immediate juga walaupun oral communication. Biasanya in a meeting, when we have the face-to-face meeting, we have oral communication. I talk to you, and then the rest will respond, and then there will be speed, will be speed and immediate feedback. Lepas ni saya ada mesyuarat jabatan. So when I inform something, if my department members respond to me, itu jadi speed and immediate. Kalau semua, tapi kebanyakan tak macam student lah, dia jadi speed and immediate feedback. Kalau macam ni pun is oral communication, but I don't get the response, dia tak capai yang ni, the process. It's just not, I call the process is not considered is not fulfilled or not finished. So advantages, biasanya yang ni face to face lah, we can get it speed and immediate. Disadvantages, distortion of message if it is conveyed through a number of people. Maknanya dia daripada, for example, from the top sampai ke orang tengah, message dia macam ni. Orang tengah, the top, the middle manager, for example, pergi ke bawah, sometimes the message secara tak sengaja is being twisted a bit. Sampai ke orang bawah lagi, it's twisted a bit. Macam there are lots of games that you play kan. You can just check banyak contoh dalam YouTube. These games of communication where from one person sampai the second one, the third one, dia punya even the non-verbal communication dia dah berubah dah. So distortions of message if it is conveyed through a number of people. Written communication like a memo, a letter, that one is tangible and verifiable. Tangible because we can have it, we can hold it. It can be approved, in a court, for example. It can be a proof of instructions from the top management. Sometimes when top management dia akan cakap, bagi tahu ahli jabatan. Kita boleh kata it's better if you can provide a memo or letter so that they can read on their own. It can be much more, what we call, much more easily to be understood. Tak nak jadi tertukar-tukar dia punya pandangan dan pendapat tu berbeza-beza. So written communication is better in terms of it's tangible and is verifiable. It can be approved. For example, if management asks us to come to work on Saturday, for example. So and then she promised that one day on Saturday will be can be replaced by another weekdays. Kita kerja hari Sabtu sampai petang, contohnya 8.5 can be replaced on the weekdays. Tapi it has to be written down. It has to be written in a memo. So it can be tangible and it can be a very verifiable. Nanti kita nak apply cuti ganti tu, we can use the letter. For example. Time consuming and no built-in feedback mechanism. So it's depending. Time consuming, so awak nak kena tulis sikit lah, buat memo sikit. And then have to be approved by, for example, director ke or anybody who is based on the position who has the authority. No feedback mechanism. Biasa dia dapat, dia senyap je. But for example, in email, we can just reply lah. Okay, thank you, and we have received the memo, for example. Okay, so that's in terms of written communication. Non-verbal communication. Ni kalau dalam kelas senang saya nampak sama ada you are sleepy ke, sama ada your body is in the class but your soul is somewhere else, your heart and soul is somewhere else. Nampak, saya boleh nampak. Okay. And for example, your body is in the class but you are playing game. Saya tangkap dulu pelajar kita dalam kelas, dia pergi main. Masa tu dia tengah popular game apa yang farm ke apa benda tu. Budak lelaki ni. So that one we can see easily. Tapi yang ini malangnya when we have this what we call this kind of communication, this through this online class ni, saya tak nampak ni Faiz ni, nampak gambar dia yang ni je. Yang profile ni, Megat nampak profile. Yusof langsung tak kenal. Tak ada gambar. Laling langsung tak kenal. Batrisha kenal sebab dah pernah jumpa. Kalau tak kenal juga. Tak ada muka nampak bunga ke apa tu Batrisha, for example. So no, even the non-verbal communication pun tak nampak. No facial expression, no eye contact pun tak ada. Semua tak ada. So non-verbal communication, if it is available, when we communicate, when a person in front is talking, another party is like the person who you talk to, or when the person who are talking, even the person talking, we can see in terms of the eye contact. Kalau American, they don't like people who, kalau kita kadang-kadang macam saya dulu zaman remaja kan, when we talk to a guy, for example, kita memalu tunduk kan, there is the Malaysian culture, or I don't know whether there is Muslim culture ke, or if possible we don't want to look at the eye of the other party ke. But for American, there is rude, that is considered rude, because when you talk, you have to have the eye contact. Saya marah kalau kata kat anak saya, cakap pandang mama. Satu lagi saya marah bila dia cakap separuh, mama sebenarnya kan. Lepas tu dia kata, tak jadilah mama. Itu saya memang marah. Saya marah sungguh. You want to talk to me, you want to tell me something, you have to finish telling whatever you want to tell. Sebab kita jadi tertanya-tanya, apa budak ni cakap tadi? So, habis kot. Sambut, habiskan. Saya kata habiskan. Tak boleh, tak jadilah. Baik, bagi you better inform me what you want to tell me. So but there is not verbal communication lah. Verbal communication is when we talk, we have the eye contact. We talk, we can see the facial expression. We talk, we can see the body movement. That is non-verbal communication. So this non-verbal communication is assisting the verbal communication. You talk, that is verbal, or the oral communication ditambahkan dengan the non-verbal communication. So it's assist. Dia membantu. Assist in emphasizing on words conveyed in conversation. So we both parties, we have to be alert on the body languages. Nanti belajar kadang when we talk, somebody will do something like berpeluk tubuh. Dia macam, I don't know, macam is not interested, or dia rasa dia lebih besar. They are what I call definition for some body languages. So need to be alert on body languages. Some people, they look at the body languages of some prime minister, bila dia duduk, kaki dia macam mana, tangan dia macam mana, Kate Middleton dengan Prince William, dia punya eye contact dia macam mana. Some people they study eye contact, how they hold each other, semua tu they look and they give meanings. So need to be alert on body languages to see signs of contradictory between spoken and non-verbal communication. Dia sama dia cakap, dia macam senyum, tapi senyum tu macam mengejek ke apa ke. So that is the importance of non-verbal communication. So it assists your verbal communication. It adds to the understanding of your verbal communication. Alright. Okay tak setakat ni? So if it is okay in terms of the modes or methods of communication, you can write 222 on the chat. Alright, Megat, Ai, Fitri, Faiz, Nelly. Alright, okay. So ni pun you dah best. I think it's okay also because you have learned in your principles of management. Only you now you have to recall again because we will ask you. Okay, we will ask you in the final exam question. Okay, you know already kan kita ada 20 MCQ question. It will cover topic 7 until 12. We have short answers that will be covered also from topic 7 to 12 also, and we also have one case study question in the take home examination. Okay, sebab you punya online ada dua tau, satu OFE, satu THE. OFE is the online final examination, is combinations of MCQ question and short answers, but this time the short answers 5 question time 4 marks. Okay, and the THE is a case study question. Okay, there will be, if I'm not mistaken, 30 marks altogether for the THE. But each of OFE and THE then will add up, and then they will be will convert into 50%. Okay, so final exam the total is 50% taken from the OFE and THE. Okay tak? Faham tak mengenai final exam tu? So you write yes or no on the chat. Okay, alright, baik. Okay, faham, mudahlah kerja saya. Okay, thank you. Okay, the next one. Ni jadi barriers, halangan. Barriers or halangan. Barriers to effective communication. Halangan dia, done. Sikit je. Okay, barriers to effective communication. Number 1, filtering. Filtering, what happened could be the speaker or the people. Contohnya kalau the top management lah yang nak bagi message ni, they filter, they do not give, they do not inform everything, ataupun dalam bahasa lain they do not, how I'm going to say, filtering ni, they don't if there are 100% information, they may only give like 50 to 70% information to the receiver, or they or sometimes they manipulate. Isu tu mungkin tak berapa nak cantik, so they manipulate. So the manipulations of information, so that it will be seen favorable by the receiver. So filter by, here in the case, filter by not showing everything. The manipulations of information, so it will be seen favorable by the receiver. A selective perception, and the acceptance of information based on receiver's interest, need and background. Selective perception, acceptance of information based on receiver's interest, need and background. It means that here in the case of the receivers pula, whatever the information that you get, you will not accept 100%. You only accept the one that is suit you based on your interest. The one that you don't suit you, macam contoh somebody would like to say something, dan you dah ada dalam kepala, dah benda tu memang you tak nak terima, then you inform that, saya tak nak dengar lagi. Saya tak nak dengar lagi apa-apa masalah, saya nak hanya the positive outcome contohnya. So the receiver would not accept any news or any information that does not suit their interest. Mama tak nak dengar lagi. Mama tak nak dengar lagi. Whatever it is. Mama nak yang contohnya yang bagus je, yang positif je. So that is based on the receiver's interest, need and background. Another problem is information overload. Ni untuk macam awak lah, students for example. But in terms of workers also, it can happen to workers also. Where, for example, in your case, you have, how many courses do you have to take altogether for this semester? How many courses?
6, madam.
6 courses. So 6 courses, you have information from your lecturers to do, test, assignment, project. Itu untuk satu kelas, untuk satu course, satu kursus. And then you have 6 times 6 for example. So too many. Ya, itu yang sometimes you want to make it fast, you get whatever from your friends. You get whatever from the Google. Lepas tu sampai kat saya kata I'll deduct your marks. Because of I know you take it from Google or because of you took it from your friends. Similar answer with your friends. Yang awak pula nak cepat. You cannot process everything. Kita kan banyak-banyak sangat nak masukkan, for example. So information we have to work with exceed our processing capacity. Awak kena susun betul-betul. 6 courses, kena ada penjadualan. We have to have your schedules. We have to have your whatever way lah for you to organize. Subhanallah, anak siapa pun masuk ni? Atika daripada mana awak, Atika? Dah tinggal one slide lagi, Atika. Alright. Okay. Tadi. Information we have to work with exceeds our processing capacity. Kan kita kan manusia, we have so many things. Sama lah. Kadang-kadang saya baru nak marking awak punya assignment. Lepas tu kena check pula soalan pesyarat. Lepas tu nak kena, ada pula meeting hari raya pula. Okay. Awak tak adalah kat sini kecuali the MPP have to work hard lah for the hari raya. Banyak rasanya kerja awak kena buat tu. Yang kat rumah tu hari raya kat rumah je lah. Because the director is going to do majlis hari raya and she's going to invite many also lah people from outside. So tu lagi satu tambahan kerja, not only the 6 classes or the 6 courses, tambahan lagi dengan kerja-kerja tambahan. So you have to really arrange it. It means we have more information that kita ada banyak sangat information yang kita dapat, nak susun yang banyak dah. It means we have more information than what we can sort out and use. Right? Emotions, of course lah. Sometimes we don't want to listen. We listen to some news and then we just get angry. We don't want to hear the whole issue or the whole statement. Then we interpret it. The interpretations of a message in the communication process depends on an individual emotion, how we control our emotion. Depends on an individual emotion at the time of receive of the information. Kalau katakan waktu tu the individual that you talk to, dia punya emosi di tengah sangat bagus, rezeki awak lah. I mean could be some the management, some managers, some bosses, or can be your parents also kan. Kadang-kadang mood dia tengah bagus, awak minta apa pun dapat. Kalau mood dia tak bagus, alhamdulillah lah, minta maaf lah, mungkin tak dapat. Language. The differences in age education ni, language ni bukan somebody talk English, you talk some other language. No, this is sometimes even parents and children, sebab you use different jargon, you use different could be different jargon, you use different words that only you and your age group know about that particular language, for example. The differences in age education, it could be cultural background and what areas influence the language a person uses and the definition he or she gives to words. The misunderstanding of the languages used based on the different, could be different generation, different cultural background, different educational level and so on. And the last one is communication or apprehensions or anxiety. Kadang-kadang ada orang yang kan tak nak cakap, but they have this what we call communication apprehension. Last time when I teach English, sekarang saya tak ajar bahasa Inggeris lagi dulu. When I first join, masa tu IPM bukan KPM, I teach English. Kan dia banyak communication. We ask students to go to the front and speak and deliver speeches. Contohnya, I got also experience with students who bila kita suka depan, dia dah ready kan, speech dia pegang kertas tu, dia akan bergoyang. So itu jarang saya jumpa lah, but is for some students, it's happened to some students. They have that issues or that problem. So saya kata cuba letak kertas dekat bawah. Jadi tangan dia dah bebas. So tangan dia bebas, it easier a bit. Easier bit for yang to him to communicate. So for communication also actually we need to practice. Okay, we need to practice. We have to practice. If for example you have public speech kan, you have to practice. You have interview kan, you have to practice. Practice speaking in front of your friends ke, kalau kawan awak malah nak layan awak in front of a mirror ke, the mirror on the wall can help you. Okay. So some individuals might have difficulty to convey message as they might experience tension and anxiety in written or oral communication. Alright. So basically for the topic of communication, so this is what you have to focus in terms of what is communication. There will be one or two questions also. Ada dalam 2-3 jugalah. For the questions for the topic of communication. Communication can be communication definition, function, communication process, direction of communication, and modes or methods of communication, and barriers to effective communication. Alright. Okay tak setakat ni? So we are ending already the topic of communication. So if it is okay, you write okay 333 on the chat. Okay. Ni asas je ni. Asas untuk tajuk komunikasi. Okay. So yang ini saya pun tak sempat selitkan soalan communication ni. Because this communication we just add in. Okay, a bit. Sebab dalam MQA punya program standard untuk kursus organization behavior memang diletakkan tajuk komunikasi. Dulu pun memang kita dah selitkan dalam tajuk principles of management. Tapi because it's appear again, saya kata to be safe. So saya just add to be safe sebab apa nanti MQA juga yang akan check semula kerja kita. So saya kata kita addkan lah topik communication.